Christie Hutcherson, you are, bring her up here, Women Fighting for America, but also I have here Women of Faith here from the southern border. You didn't hear me, you were hugging him. That's okay. This woman has been on the fight nationally. She's down at the southern border. You may have seen her in broadcasts and podcasts and whatever, but she's a spearhead and she's a fighter. And this is Christie Hutcherson.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Oregon! Woo! Man, I think I brought the sunshine with me from Florida. Man, it's warm out here. Hence, I came from Bandon, Oregon, which is a little cooler over there. So when I left this morning, it was a little chilly out there. So can everybody hear me okay? Because I'm going to give a message that you guys need to understand and really energize. So if you're like underneath the shade and over there quietly, if you guys can come on over, seriously, come on over. So I'm the founder of Women Fighting for America. I'm Christie Hutcherson. And like you, I was an ordinary small business owner, military mom, going about my business. And then 3 years ago, I was called by my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to step down as CEO of my company and go across this great nation exposing the corruption that is taking place and rooted in our nation. What makes me unique is I actually worked in the swamp. I worked in DC for a little over 18 years in the private sector, had a consultancy business. We did strategy for the United States military, for the Defense Logistics Agency and other agencies. And I started looking at what was going on in our nation's capital and how the servants, because that's what they are, right? They're servants. They work for you. They serve the people. But you see, they forgot about that. They're serving their own self-interest at this point. And they're selling out America. We, the people of the United States of America, from the state level to the federal level, are the bosses. That's right. You know, I was asked today, this is my third speaking engagement in less than 24 hours here in Oregon, and I love Oregon. This is my second time being to your great state. And it is one of the prettiest states I've ever seen. And I've been to 30 plus states in 3 years. But your politics, the corruption that has taken root, that corruption needs to be plucked out. And the only way that corruption is going to get plucked out is if you show up. And I don't know whether it's a sunny day or not, or whether it's a cold, cold day with 30 degree below, this place should be packed out. You see, the left is very good at wearing you out and wearing you down, and then you start going about your everyday lives. They are never going to stop going after your personal freedoms. Never going to stop until they have control over your personal freedoms and lives. That is their overall goal. I just got back from Europe. I literally just flew in from Europe. I was meeting with Christina Anderson in the European Union Parliament, the European Union. Meeting with the Dutch farmers in Netherlands, Australia, leaders, Canada. Do you know what the one question they kept asking me was? Where is America? Who is America? We the people. They are waiting for us to lead. Because make no mistake, what's going on here in America is going on in the Western countries. If we don't stand and we do not fight now, we will not have an America and you will not be free. This has been a 75-year plan, and they've executed it brilliantly. And I'm going to speak, and I'm going to call out those who have allowed this to happen, because again, I speak truth. I'd like to know where the churches are. Why aren't they here today? Where's the pastors? You see, most of the pastors are too worried protecting their nonprofit status, and they're serving man instead of serving God. Pastors, challenging you. Get rid of your C3 status. Let the church take care of the church. And let Caesar take care of Caesar. Get a backbone. The Bible is very clear, and so is the Ten Commandments. You are to love your neighbor. You hate the sin. You love the person. This transgender movement and these churches that are allowing transgender and transvestites in their churches, it's an abomination. It is sinful. Why are we allowing this to happen? It's part of the agenda of the World Economic Forum, the United Nations. There is a globalist movement. It is not conspiracy theory, folks. They have an agenda. The World Economic Forum, if you haven't been on their website, I highly encourage everybody to get on the World Economic Forum website. You will be enlightened beyond measure. They have an info commercial out. It's a beautiful commercial, actually, by the way. But in that commercial, I want you to hone in and I want you to listen to what they tell you. You will have nothing and you will like it. Biden's administration's own advisor, a couple months ago, they said it was a gaffe. There's never a gaffe in the communist movement. It will be a liberal world order. They are telling you exactly what is coming. And again, we cannot tire. You know, I've been to the southern border. I've actually spent 2 years of my personal life with my team at the southern border and the northern border. And I'm here to tell you, not only is it not a migration, buffalo migrate. It is an invasion into a sovereign country. They are utilizing the open borders to destabilize America, which in turn will destabilize the world. They are doing this systematically in different countries, in freedom-loving countries all over the world. The Netherlands is one of them. France, they're taken to the streets in protest. Where's America? I'm going to connect the dots here. The Chinese Communist Party, the United Nations, and this administration, along with the cartels, plural cartels, are handily working together, purposefully, to bring in terrorists, murderers, rapists, the unsavory, from 174 plus different nations into our country. I was at the border a couple months ago in the desert with my team, and I'm here to tell you, we've got photographs of military, full military gear, full AKs, bringing in terrorists, photographs of them on our soil. Nobody's stopping them. That keeps me up at night. It should keep you up at night. I've tried to have the truckers and people in different groups come down to the border with me. Let's form a human chain and say no more, not on my watch. Because make no mistake, as you know, here in Oregon, you have drugs rampant in your street. Sanctuary cities. Murder, crime's gone up. I don't know about you, but I probably would be afraid to let my daughter out alone on the streets. We the people. We the people. January 6th, I was there. I spoke on January 5th. I'm an insurrectionist. Thank you, proud. There was no insurrection on January 6th. That's a false narrative. The real insurrection was the night before Trump took office in 2016. That was an insurrection. I was there too. Amen. The reason why they are doing this unconstitutional, illegal hearing for the J6 committee is to put fear in the hearts of every American, freedom-loving American. Why? Because they don't want you to gather. They don't want you to have the numbers like they did in Washington, D.C. They're not afraid of Trump, they're afraid of the people. You have to understand your constitutional rights. You have to understand your Bill of Rights. Just right here, this Measure 114, I was reading it. this morning. It is unconstitutional. The government nor the state has the right to tell you that you don't have the right to bear arms, nor should they have the right to make you get a permit to carry a weapon. It is our right. The Second Amendment and the 14th Amendment in our Constitution guarantees that. And yeah, people will say, oh, well, that was in the context of a militia. There's some controversy on militia or individual people. Well, in the context of the founding fathers, there was no militia, there was no army. The people were the militia and they were the army. They knew that governments could be corrupted. And the last line of defense is every American citizen to hold a weapon. Legal American citizen. I'm a Russian Jew on my mother's side. My family literally fled Stalin. My papa and my great-grandfather told me the stories. They're written in Ellis Island. Some of my family wasn't so lucky. They were marched to the ghetto and then to the gulags, and some of them to the gas chambers. Freedom ain't free, folks. Freedom's not free. It comes with great sacrifice. I'm willing to take a bullet for my country, but I had to make that decision for myself. I have death threats against my life, the cartels, bounties on my head. I walk through Black Israelites proudly, BLM. They're bullies. You have to stand up to bullies. We can do this peacefully and lovingly, but strongly, because we have a constitution, we have truth on our side, and we have the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on our side. But I'm going to tell you, he's asking a question. He's like, where are my people? Where are my people? Christina Anderson and I were talking at the EU Parliament, and she was telling me, I said, America's spoiled. And she goes, yeah, they're kind of spoiled brats, aren't they? I said, yeah, we are. You see, we haven't really tasted attacks on our soil. 9/11 was horrific, but we really haven't had tanks rolling through our streets yet. I'm here to tell you, the United Nations, Chinese Communist Party, and Russia have tanks both on the southern and northern borders of the United States of America. We've got the photographs to prove it. They're surrounding us. Their plan is perfectly executed. And if you don't show up, stand up, speak up, get involved, we will not have a free America. Your children and your grandchildren will look at you and say, Mommy and Daddy, why didn't you fight for my freedom? Why didn't you fight for my freedom? It is worth fighting for. Somebody was asking me, how do you get people involved? I've been trying to knock on doors in the churches. Honestly, you can't make people show up or change. It has to start with you. And then you talk to somebody else, and you talk to somebody else, and you talk to somebody else, and eventually you'll get a yes and a yes and a yes. You don't give up. You don't give in. We have to hold the line right here and right now. We are months away from losing our freedoms. Study your enemy like I have. Understand their tactics. They're coming after your children. They're coming after your personal freedoms. And make no mistake, you're not going to be safe. You think you'll be safe if I just don't, if I just don't, if I just don't. That's what the Jews said. If I just don't. If I don't. Never comply again. Sacrifice comes at a cost. Freedom comes at a cost. I want you to ask yourselves tonight, seriously, I literally stood in front of the mirror and I had to ask myself, am I willing to give up a little bit of my safety, my comforts? Or am I willing to fight for freedom? I chose freedom. Will you choose freedom? Will you choose freedom? I can't hear you. Will you choose freedom? Too many men and women have died on the battlefield, shed their blood for freedom and liberty. It is time for we the people to do that very same sacrifice, to stand in unification, collaborate. We don't have time for egos. Other organizations out there, come together, meet with other leaders, this organizer, Christina, churches, sheriffs, meet, talk, get together, plan, organize, fight back. And don't let the bullies win. When you show up, they back down. I promise you. Show up. Don't be fearful. Fear is of the devil. It's not of God. Fear is a liar. That's what the left uses. That's what Hitler used. He used fear. Do not allow fear to change the course of this history in this great republic we call America. And I'm going to leave you, and several people already hold their story, but it's so important because I look at this young man. This young man at the age of 21 years of age and 22 years of age sacrificed, didn't know what was going to happen to him. He's my hero. And if we had more men and women like him, we wouldn't be in the position we are now. He signed up to serve the United States Air Force and the security forces. Was accepted into the Raven School. That's an elite force within the Air Force. This young airman served over in Germany, was charged with protecting Air Force 2 even though he didn't agree with the person inside. Then he was tasked with taking care of the Afghan so-called refugees. That's a whole nother story. This administration, Biden, should be put up on treason charges. On that alone. Good men and women died that day because of his orders. Unconstitutional. This young man stood and they said, you need to be called up into your dress blues. You didn't take this unconstitutional mandate, the jab. That young man didn't do a religious exemption like he could have. Instead, he decided to look at the oath that he took. I am going to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against foreign and domestic threats. And when I'm given an unconstitutional order, even if that order comes down from the President of the United States, that order is not to be followed if it goes against the Constitution. You see, our military men and women and our police force have forgotten that. So this young man stood there, got an Article 15 and got stripped of his rank and pay. Didn't make much money anyway. Was living off of ramen noodles. They said, if you come back in 4 weeks, we'll make all of this go away because you're a great soldier. We need you. He came back 4 weeks later, stood his ground again. They put him on house arrest. He was allowed to go to his post and back. That's it. Was in isolation. Was laughed at. Was poked fun of. He stood his ground. January, they finally discharged this young man. Instead of giving him an honorable or a general, they decided to make an example of this young man. He didn't know if he was going to get court-martialed. They gave him a JQK. A JQK is serious misconduct of a soldier, no better than a rapist. They took away this young man's right to be able to hold position, police force, get a security clearance. He still struggles. He has no job today. That young man is my son. He's my hero. He's who I look up to. Can you fight like that? Are you willing to fight like that? Freedom's not free. God bless you. God bless this great country. If you want to know more about my organization and get involved, we need your time, we need your talents, we need your treasures. It's W Whiskey Foxtrot Foxtrot Alpha WFFA.WIN. 100% of your donations go to my fight. Nobody in my organization takes a salary. We don't pay administrative staff. 100% of every penny goes to bringing and exposing the truth. It puts us in the field. It helps us to save children. We have rescued children from the cartel. I can't even get into the rape trees and all the stuff and the atrocities that I've personally witnessed at the border. We've rescued them. Please get involved. Please donate. You can go to WFFA.win on your smartphone right now, or you can text FIGHT to 91776. Please. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Don't you love a fighter?